Hey, YouTube, welcome back to a new video with Rams fan YT. In today's video, we are going to the naval town on the south coast of Portsmouth. So then, let's just go straight into it, really. There were a load of other Portsmouth clubs in the early days. In 1883 to 1896, there was Portsmouth AFC, which is an amateur club which was formed by Portsmouth architect Arthur Cogswell, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle played as goalkeeper under the pseudonym A.C. Smith. In 1891, roughly, there was a team called Portsmouth Town, and they were an amateur team who almost became Portsmouth's first professional club, but whose efforts failed and led to their disbandment. And from 1894 to 1899, there was a Royal Artillery of Portsmouth. They were actually reformed in 1900 and 1901 season. They were a popular amateur army team based in the United Services Recreation Ground Complex at Burnaby Road, Portsmouth. Their supporters were the originators of the Town Hall Chimes, later the Pompey Chimes, and the team were nicknamed Pompey until the professional Portsmouth were formed in 1898. A professionalism scandal, though, in 1899 led to their retirement and a rise in interest of the new Portsmouth FC, with Royal Artillery Portsmouth briefly reformed for one more season in 1900 and 1901. Although you could argue that the United Services team may have taken up their mantle. But the club we're looking at was first founded on the 5th of April 1898 at 12 High Street, Old Portsmouth. This was the office of the solicitor John Edward Pink, and it was known as the Portsmouth Football and Athletic Company, with John Brickwood as chairman. The company directors were John Brickwood, as I already said, who lived from 1852 to 1932. He was the owner of Brickwood's Brewery in Portsmouth and was knighted by King Edward VII in 1904, and in 1927 he became Sir John Brickwood, the first Baronet Brickwood of Portsmouth. There was also Alfred H. Bone, a local architect and surveyor, George Lewin Oliver, who was founder and headmaster of the Mile End House School, a boys' preparatory school known informally as Oliver's Academy. There was John Wyatt Peters, who was a wine importer, John Edward Pink, who was the solicitor based at 12 High Street in Old Portsmouth, and he was born on the 6th of June 1866 and died on the 21st of March 1939, and he became Mayor of Portsmouth from 1904 to 1905. And finally, William Wigington, a government contractor and former Royal Engineers warrant officer. A blue plaque is on the wall of 12 High Street, Old Portsmouth, the obviously Alderman John E. Pink's solicitor's office building, and this commemorates the founding on the 5th of April 1898. In 1899, work began on developing a plot of former agricultural land near Goldsmith Avenue in Milton in Portsmouth into a new football ground, brought in 1898 from the local Goldsmith farming family. The new football ground was to be named Fratton Park, after the nearby and convenient Fratton railway station, with an adjoining railway goods yard located between the two. Frank Brettel was announced as Portsmouth Football Club's first manager secretary in February 1899. He had been secretary player with the St Domingo Club, which you may know as now being Everton in Liverpool, and helped create the organisation which became Everton. Brettel joined Portsmouth in May 1899, and his first Portsmouth signings were the Irish goalkeeper Matt Riley and Harry Turner from the recently retired Royal Artillery Portsmouth. Also joining Portsmouth as the new director was Regimental Sergeant Major Frederick Windrum, the treasurer-trainer from Royal Artillery. Brettel, with his valuable northern contacts, also signed Scottish footballer Tom Wilkie, the former Hearts of Midlothian and Liverpool player. He also signed Bob Blythe and Alex Sandy Brown, and they were both from Preston North End. Edward Turner, Harold Clark, and Harold Stringfellow all came from Everton. Dan Cunliffe, Thomas Tommy Cleghorn, and Robert Bobby Marshall were all signed from Liverpool. A bold and ambitious application for Portsmouth's direct entry into the Southern League First Division without the usual probationary period in the lower divisions was actually strangely accepted, and the club joined the Southern Football League Division 1 for the 1899-1900 season. The Southern League were very keen to see a professional team from Portsmouth join the Southern League, and the Southern League secretary, Mr. Nat Whitaker, was quoted in the press as saying, "Personally, I think there is a great future for soccer generally in Portsmouth, and if they can only do well next season, the success of the club is assured. Help them? Of course I will, and anyone else who wants to make football grow in the South." Whitaker also said he was confident that Portsmouth would be elected into the league by the other clubs at the next general meeting of the Southern League, which they duly were. Portsmouth's first competitive Southern League match was played away at Chatham Town at Maidstone Road, in Chatham obviously, on the Saturday the 2nd of September 1899, which Portsmouth won 1-0, with Portsmouth's first ever goal scored by Harold Clark. During the match, Portsmouth manager Frank Brettel had sent telegrams of the latest score every 15 minutes to Fratton Park, where crowds had gathered to hear the latest news. 4 days later, on Wednesday the 6th of September 1899, the first ever home match at Fratton Park was played, a friendly against local town rivals Southampton, which Portsmouth won 2-0, with goals from Dan Cunliffe and Harold Clark. Portsmouth's first competitive Southern League home match followed on the Saturday, the 9th of September, a 2-0 win against Reading, with goals scored by Clark and Cunliffe, attended by a crowd of up to 7,000 supporters. Portsmouth's first 1899-1900 season in the Southern Football League Division 1 was successful, with the club winning 20 out of 28 league matches, earning them a runners-up spot in the table behind champions Tottenham Hotspur. In their second 1901 Southern Football League Division 1 season, Portsmouth finished in third place behind second place Bristol City and first place Southampton. Portsmouth also joined the 1901 Western Football League and finished top as Division 1 champions. The following season saw Portsmouth player Bob Blythe become Portsmouth's second manager on the 1st of August 1901, replacing Frank Brettel, who had left on the 31st of May 1901. Portsmouth won the 1901-02 Southern Football League Championship title. However, Portsmouth were not promoted and no teams were relegated. No clubs had applied for election to the Football League proper, and in the 1901-02 Western Football League, Portsmouth also won the Division 1 Championship for a second consecutive season. In the 1902-03 Southern Football League, Portsmouth finished in third place, and in the 1902-03 Western Football League, Portsmouth won the Division 1 Championship for a third consecutive season. The following 1903-04 Southern Football League saw a fourth-place finish. On the 5th July 1904, Portsmouth chairman and Brickwood's brewery owner, Sir John Brickwood, was knighted by His Majesty King Edward VII. In 1903-04 of the Western Football League, Portsmouth finished in fourth position behind champions Tottenham Hotspur. Richard Bonney, the ex-army soldier who had co-founded the Royal Artillery Portsmouth Football Club in 1894, became Portsmouth's third manager on the 1st of August 1905 for the 1905-06 Southern Football League. Portsmouth finished in third place, and in the 1905-06 Western Football League, Portsmouth finished seventh position behind champions Queen's Park Rangers. A new club pavilion was designed and built by Arthur Cogswell in the southwest corner of Fratton Park, which housed the club offices and players' changing rooms. John Brickwood also donated a clock tower spire to the east side of a new pavilion. In the 1906-07 Southern Football League, Portsmouth ended the season as runners-up for a second time, after Fulham won the total by just 2 points. Meanwhile, in the 1906-07 Western Football League, the top Division 1 was split into equal A and B sections, with a playoff between the two section winners to decide as the Division 1 champion. Portsmouth finished in third position in the B section of Division 1, and the 1906-07 season was highlighted by the visit of Manchester United to Fratton Park in the FA Cup, which generated a record attendance of 24,329. A 2-2 draw meant a replay in Manchester, where Portsmouth recorded a famous 2-1 win. The next 1908-09 season, Portsmouth finished in fourth position, and in their last Western Football League appearance, Portsmouth finished fourth position of the B section of Division 1. At the end of the season, all 14 members of the split A and B section of Division 1 resigned from the Western Football League. For the 1909-10 Southern Football League, Portsmouth abandoned their sand pink and maroon shrimps era shirts and changed their colours to white shirts, navy blue shorts and navy blue socks. Portsmouth ended their season in 6th place before the following season saw the team win only 8 out of their 38 games and were relegated. Manager Richard Bonney was then let go, and a severe financial crisis struck between seasons, and a public appeal for funds in May 1911 kept the club afloat. With the recruitment of Robert Brown from Sheffield Wednesday as Portsmouth's 4th manager, the team then finished 2nd place in the 1911-12 Southern Football League Division 2, behind Merthyr Town, and were promoted as runners-ups. However, the club's finances were in trouble again, with losses and debts increasing to £10,000. A shareholders' meeting was called on the 8th of May 1912, where George Lewin Oliver, one of the original founders and directors, proposed that the Portsmouth Football and Athletic Company should be wound up and replaced with a more business-orientated company. The original company was then liquidated to remove the debt. On the 20th of July 1912, the Portsmouth Football Club Limited was formed as the new parent company of Portsmouth FC, with substantial financial guarantees given by the board of directors. The original 1898 founding director George Lewin Oliver became the new Portsmouth chairman. For the new 1912-13 Southern Football League season back in Division 1, Portsmouth, now under new ownership, wore new home colours of blue shirts, white shorts and black stockings. Portsmouth finished the season in 11th place. Portsmouth's famous crest, consisting of a crescent moon and a star, made its first appearance in the 1913-14 season. The moon and star motif comes from the Portsmouth town then coat of arms, and are believed to date back as far as the time of Richard I. Curiously, the star on the original badge featured a star with 5 points rather than 8 that appeared on the town crest. Portsmouth ended the season in 9th position. Football was suspended during the 1914-19 to 1918 because of the First World War. Many with connections to Portsmouth joined the Pompey Powers battalions, which formed parts of the Hampshire Regiment, many never of which returned home. In 1915, the Fratton End Terrace was upgraded to accommodate 8,000 standing supporters and covered with a roof for the first time. On the 6th of June 1918, an American Army team played a Canadian Army team in a baseball match at Fratton Park, with the great money donated to the British Red Cross. The US Army team won 4-3. Following the resumption of matches in the 1919-20 season, Portsmouth won the Southern League Championship for the second time, and Portsmouth were then elected to the Football League 3rd Division as founding members. John McCartney took over as the 5th manager of Portsmouth on the 1st of May 1920 from Robert Brown, who had left to join Gillingham, also in the Football League. Competing in the inaugural season in England's Football League 3rd Division, Portsmouth claimed the title only 4 years earlier in the 1923-24 season, with the team being promoted into the second division. Debuting in the second division for the first time, they finished 4th place behind Derby County, Manchester United, and division champions Leicester City. The following season, a new South Stand was designed by renowned football architect Archibald Leach, and was opened by Football League president John McKenna on the 29th of August 1925, just before the kick-off against Middlesbrough. The season ended with Portsmouth in 11th position. After finishing in 11th position, Portsmouth won promotion to the 1st Division by finishing runners-up in the 1926-27 2nd Division season, ending the process getting their biggest club win with a 9-1 home win over Notts County, which is still the highest home win scoring record to date. Portsmouth's promotion to the top division of English football was a double celebration. The first achieved by a football club based south of London, and the first achieved by a club graduating from the 3rd Division to the 1st Division. Sunderland fan and South Shields manager Jack Tin joined Portsmouth as new manager on the 1st of May 1927, replacing John McCartney, who had resigned due to ill health. Portsmouth's debut season in the 1927-28 First Division was a struggle, finishing 1 point and 1 place above relegation. The next 1928-29 season in the First Division, Portsmouth continued to falter, losing 10-0 away at Filbert Street to Leicester City, which is still a club record away defeat. Despite their failings in the Football League, however, that season also saw Portsmouth reach the FA Cup final for the first time, which they lost to Bolton Wanderers. One Pompey supporter is reported to have carried a black cat with the club colours around its neck to the 1929 FA Cup final. Portsmouth managed to survive relegation, finishing at 1 place above the relegation zone. From 1929 to 1934, Portsmouth had become a regular top half finisher in the First Division. The 1933-34 season saw Portsmouth again reach the FA Cup final for a second time, having beaten Manchester United, Bolton Wanderers, Leicester City and Birmingham City on the way. The club was again defeated in the FA Cup final, this time by Manchester City. Halfway through the 1934-35 season, on the 23rd of December 1934, the original 1898 founding director and later Portsmouth chairman, George Lewin Oliver, died. Using money from June 1934 sale of defender Jimmy Allen and money from the 1934 FA Cup final, Portsmouth announced at Christmas 1934 that Fratton Park's North Stand was to be demolished and replaced with a much larger stand, increasing the ground capacity to more than 58,000. The 1934-35 season ended with Portsmouth in 14th position and 7 points above relegation. On the 7th of September, at the beginning of the new 1935-36 First Division season, in a home game against Aston Villa, the new North Stand was opened by John McKenna, who had also opened Fratton Park's new South Stand 10 years earlier. Former Portsmouth defender Jimmy Allen, whose sale in 1934 had largely paid for the new North Stand, was present at the game, as captain of the visiting Aston Villa team. The new North Stand briefly held the nickname the Jimmy Allen Stand for a while afterwards. Portsmouth ended the 1935-36 season in 10th place. Having established themselves in the top flight, the 1938-39 season saw Portsmouth reach the FA Cup final for the third time, with manager Jack Tin, who had worn his lucky spats throughout the qualifying round. This was indeed third time lucky, as Portsmouth managed to defeat favourites Wolverhampton Wanderers 4-1 in what the press had dubbed the Gland Final, a reference to the monkey gland testosterone injections used by both teams and others that season. Bert Barlow and John Jock Anderson scored, whilst Cliff Parker scored twice with the third and fourth goals. The new 1939-40 season in the First Division began on the Saturday, the 26th of August 1939. On Friday, the 1st of September 1939, Germany invaded Poland. And on Saturday, the 2nd of September 1939, all divisions of the Football League played their third and final game of the season, with Blackpool at the top of the table and Portsmouth in 18th position. These would be the last National Football League fixtures before abandonment following the British declaration of war on Germany on Sunday, the 3rd of September 1939. Large gatherings of crowds were suspended with the implementation of the Emergency Powers Defence Act 1939. Other football competitions did take place during the war, with the Football League being split into 10 regional mini-leagues, with Portsmouth in League South. An annual National Cup competition was held too, called the Football League War Cup. In 1942, Portsmouth reached the London War Cup final, a competition that had begun only a season earlier in 1940-41. The London War Cup was held once again during the 1941-42 season, and was intended by its organist to stand in for the FA Cup, despite the official Football League War Cup competition had been taking place annually since 1939. The London War Cup competition required Portsmouth, the current FA Cup champions, to secede from the Football Association to enter. Portsmouth progressed to the 1942 London War Cup final at Wembley Stadium, but were beaten by Brentford and finished as runners-up. After the competition, Portsmouth paid a £10 readmission fee to rejoin the Football Association again. The London War Cup competition was never played again. Ironically, the London War Cup trophy, won by Brentford in 1942, was reused for subsequent Football League War Cup competitions, and the trophy was last presented in 1945 to Chelsea and remains in the Chelsea Museum today. During his wartime visit to Portsmouth, Field Marshal Montgomery became interested in Portsmouth Football Club and was made honorary president of Portsmouth in 1944 until 1961. The end of World War II in 1945 caused Portsmouth to hold the distinction of holding the FA Cup trophy for the longest uninterrupted period of 7 years, as the trophy was not presented again until the 1946 FA Cup final, with, of course, Derby County winning that one. Manager Jack Tin was rumoured to have kept the FA Cup trophy safe under his bed during a part of the war, because the Navy city of Portsmouth was a primary strategic military target for German Luftwaffe bombing. The FA Cup trophy was routinely moved around the city of Portsmouth for its safety and protection, moving from Fratton Park's boardroom into bank vaults back to Fratton Park and around local pubs. During the worst of the bombing on Portsmouth, the FA Cup trophy was also taken 10 miles north of Portsmouth to the nearby Hampshire village of Lovedene, where it was kept and displayed in a quaint thatched roof country pub called the Bird in Hand. In 1945, the FA Cup trophy was taken around the streets of Portsmouth and proudly shown off at Victory in Europe Day street parties. FA Cup competition was resumed for the 1945-46 season, but a resumption of the Football League had to wait one more year. Portsmouth, as a Division 1 team and as the current FA Cup champions from 1939, were drawn to play against Birmingham City in the third round stage of the FA Cup competition. The first of the two-leg tie was played at Birmingham's St Andrew's Stadium on the 5th of January 1946, and the result was 1-0 in Birmingham City's favour. The second leg at Fratton Park ended 0-0 on the 9th of January 1946, with Birmingham City winning 1-0 overall in aggregate. The FA Cup trophy was not to stay with Portsmouth for an 8th consecutive year and was returned to the Football Association in time for the 1946 FA Cup final, in which Derby County were awarded the trophy. The Football League finally resumed in 1946-47. Portsmouth would capitalise on the footballers called up to serve in Royal Navy and Royal Marines in the war years and recruited some of them. In this way, Portsmouth had the pick of some of the best. Portsmouth ended the 1946-47 Football League First Division season in 12th place. On the 1st of May 1947, legendary manager Jack Tin left Portsmouth, with Bob Jackson taking over the same role on the same day. The second post-war First Division season resumed under Bob Jackson in 1947-48. This was also the first season Portsmouth wore Red Sox, which replaced their traditional black socks. The Red Sox were an idea proposed by Portsmouth's honorary president, Field Marshal Montgomery, who suggested that Portsmouth should wear red socks to commemorate the sacrifice of British servicemen lost in the war. Red is traditionally the colour of the British Army and also the remembrance poppy flower, and so Montgomery's idea was adopted by Portsmouth at the start of the season. Bob Jackson's Portsmouth finished in 8th place at the end of the 1947-48 First Division season. In the 50-year Golden Jubilee anniversary of the 1948-49 season, Bob Jackson's Portsmouth side were tipped to be the first team of the 20th century to win a historic Football League and FA Cup double. The potential of a rare double saw Fratton Park attracting home attendances of 36,000 supporters, and a record attendance of 51,385 in an FA Cup quarter-final match against Derby County on the 26th of February 1949, which Portsmouth won 2-1. Portsmouth, though, lost 3-1 in the FA Cup semi-final against Leicester City on the 26th of March 1949 at the neutral Highbury Stadium. Portsmouth, however, did win one half of the double, securing the First Division title and becoming the Football League champions of England at the end of the 1948-49 season, with Manchester United finishing as runners-up. Portsmouth's championship-winning team consisted of Ernest Butler, Phil Rooks, Harry Ferrier, Jimmy Schooler, Reg Fleewin, Jimmy Dickinson, Peter Harris, Dougie Reed, Ike Clark, Len Phillips, Jack Froggatt, Jasper Ewell, Lindy Della Penha, Bert Barlow and Cliff Parker. Bob Jackson's Portsmouth side beat Aston Villa 5-1 on the last day of the following 1949-50 season, winning the Football League title again for a second consecutive season on goal average. Of both Portsmouth and runners-up Wolverhampton Wanderers finished the season with 53 points each, and only 1 point ahead of third place, Sunderland, on 52 points. Portsmouth are one of only 5 teams to have won back-to-back consecutive top-flight league titles since the end of World War II. In the following 1950-51 season, league champions Portsmouth finished in 7th position, 13 points behind title winners Tottenham Hotspur. Eddie Lever took over at Pompey in 1952, after the championship-winning manager Bob Jackson joined Hull City. In the 1952-53 season, Portsmouth finished in 15th place, and only 4 points above the relegation zone, with Arsenal winning the Football League title. Portsmouth finished third in the 1954-55 season, only 4 points behind winners Chelsea. In the 1955-56 season, on the 22nd of February 1956, Fratton Park hosted the Football League's first ever floodlit evening game against Newcastle United, and played under floodlights erected on the top of the North Stand and the South Stand roofs. Portsmouth ended the season in 12th place in Division 1. The original solid earth bank Fratton End stand was replaced in 1956 with a new stand built from prefabricated concrete and steel. There are 2 distinctive terrace tiers, a roofed upper terrace and an open-air lower terrace. In the 1956-57 season, Portsmouth escaped relegation by 4 points and finished 2 places above the drop zone. In the following 1957-58 season, Portsmouth once again escaped relegation on goal average and finished 1 place above relegation zone. Manager Eddie Lever left Portsmouth in April 1958. Freddie Cox became new Portsmouth manager in August 1958. The new 1958-59 season was the first Football League season with 4 national divisions, and the 2 old regional third divisions North and South, which had begun in the 1921-22 season, were restructured and were replaced with 2 new national divisions, namely the 3rd Division and the 4th Division. At the end of the 1958-59 season, Portsmouth finished bottom of the 1st Division, ending their 32-year stay in the 1st Division and relegated to the 2nd Division. By now, the championship-winning team of 1949 and 1950 had been broken up, caused by ageing or injury. Following the bottom place finish in the previous 1958-59 First Division season, Portsmouth started the 1959-60 season in the 2nd Division, the 2nd tier of English football, which Portsmouth had last been in during the 1926-27 season. After another poor season, they escaped to further relegation to 3rd Division by only 2 points and finishing only 1 place above relegation zone. In the 1960-61 season, Portsmouth finished 2nd to last place in the 2nd Division relegation zone and were relegated once again to 3rd Division, the first former English League champions to have do so. Manager Freddie Cox was sacked in February of 1961, and under the guidance of George Smith, Portsmouth, now in the 3rd Division for the 1960-61 season, had a good season and were promoted back to the 2nd Division at the first time of asking, after winning the 3rd Division title. Field Marshal Bernard Monty Montgomery of Alamein was the honorary president of Portsmouth, and having begun to support them during World War II, due to proximity of his headquarters at Southwick House on the outskirts of Portsmouth, and in private correspondence dated on the 25th of April 1962, he wrote to Smith, "I congratulate you very much on getting Portsmouth out of the 3rd Division, which was completely a wrong place for a famous team. While the players all did their stuff, the major credit goes to you." Despite their limited financial means, manager George Smith maintained Portsmouth's 2nd Division status throughout the rest of the 1960s until Smith was replaced by Ron Tyndall in April 1970, as Smith moved upstairs to become general manager in April 1970, until his retirement from football in 1973. The cash injection that accompanied the arrival of John Deacon as the chairman in 1972 failed to improve Portsmouth's second division position. Ron Tyndall was replaced in May 1973 by John Mortimer. However, Ron Tyndall returned for 2 games as caretaker manager after manager John Mortimer left in 1974. Ian St. John, or something like that, became the new Portsmouth manager in September 1974. With Deacon unable to continue bankrolling the club on the same scale, Portsmouth finished bottom of the second division in the 1975-76 season and were relegated down to the third division. In November of the 1976-77 third division season, the club found itself needing to raise £25,000 to pay off debts and so avoid bankruptcy. With players having to be sold to ease the club's financial situation and no money available for replacements, Portsmouth were forced to rely on inexperienced young players, and initially results improved but then declined again. On the 4th of May 1977, Ian St. John was replaced as manager by former Portsmouth and England international player Jimmy Dickinson. They ended the 1976-77 season only 1 place and 1 point above the third division's relegation zone. They were relegated at the end of the 1977-78 season, finishing in bottom place. In the 1978-79 fourth division season, Portsmouth finished in the 7th position. Jimmy Dickinson suffered a heart attack near the end of the season, and after the season in May 1979 was replaced by Frank Burrows. Under Frank Burrows' new management, Portsmouth gained promotion back to the third division after finishing in 4th place in the 1979-80 season. Portsmouth would take 3 seasons before in 1983 Portsmouth claimed their third division championship title, gaining promotion back into the second division. In the 1983-84 second division season, Portsmouth finished 16th place in the table. After the season, Bobby Campbell was replaced by former England international and 1966 FIFA World Cup winner Alan Ball on the 11th of May 1984. Under Ball, Portsmouth's results markedly improved, and they narrowly missed out on winning promotion to the first division in the 1984-85 second division season, finishing in 4th place on goal difference. They finished in 4th place again for the following 1985-86 season. In Ball's third season as Portsmouth manager in the 1986-87 second division season, Portsmouth finished as runners-up behind Derby County, gaining promotion back to the first division for the first time since the 1958-59 season. During the season, the upper tier of the Fratton End stand, was built only 30 years earlier in 1956, was closed due to structural concerns, leaving only the lower tier of the Fratton End open to fans. By the middle of the new 1987-88 First Division season, the club was again in financial trouble. Portsmouth relegated straight back down to the second division, and the summer of 1988 saw chairman John Deacon sell the club to London-based businessman and former Queen's Park Rangers chairman Jim Gregory. Fratton Park was in a poor condition, with the Fratton End still half closed to fans and leaking roofs in the north and south stands. With new chairman Jim Gregory injecting money into the club, work began in the summer of 1988 to demolish the upper tier of the Fratton End and its roof. The north and south stands were refurbished and both received smart new blue-coloured metal sheet roofs. After a single disappointing season in the first division, Portsmouth were relegated back to the second division for the 1988-89 season. Halfway through the season, Alan Ball was sacked on the 17th of January 1989 and replaced by John Gregory. The entire Fratton End stand was closed during most of the season during the demolition works, with only the lower tier of the stand reopening in the springtime of 1989. Portsmouth ended the season only 2 places above relegation zone. Following the 15th of April 1989 Hillsborough disaster, Portsmouth removed the perimeter fences from Fratton Park for the new 1989-90 season, except at the Fratton End to separate away supporters. The season saw John Gregory leaving the club on the 3rd of January 1990. Assistant manager Frank Burrows became manager for a second spell on the 23rd of January 1990. Portsmouth finished in 12th position at the end of the season. 1990-91 season saw Frank Burrows resign as manager on the 13th of March 1991 after a string of bad results. Burrows was replaced by coach Graham Paddon until the end of the season, and they finished in 17th position. Jim Smith's arrival as manager at the start of the 1991-92 season sparked a revival in the team's fortunes, and that year Portsmouth reached the semi-finals of the FA Cup, beating Liverpool at the neutral ground of Highbury on the 5th of April 1992. This was the 94th anniversary of Portsmouth Football Club, and Portsmouth took the lead in extra time from a 111th minute Darren Anderton goal. However, Liverpool's Ronnie Whelan equalised 5 minutes later, and the semi-final match ended tied in a 1-1 draw after the allotted 120 minutes. The tie was then replayed at Villa Park on the 13th of April 1992 and ended 0-0 after extra time. Portsmouth then lost 3-1 on penalties to Liverpool, who went on to meet Sunderland in the 1992 FA Cup final, which Liverpool won 2-0. The 1992-93 Football League season saw a major restructuring of the English football pyramid system, caused by all the First Division clubs resigning from the Football League and forming a new breakaway top tier of the FA Premier League. Now without a First Division, the Football League Second Division was renamed the Football League First Division for the 1992-93 season. The FA Premier League also had a new Winners' Trophy made, meaning the famous old Football League First Division Championship trophy became demoted in status, now acting as the second-tier First Division Championship trophy instead. Portsmouth had a good 1992-93 season in the new First Division, but missed out on automatic promotion to the new first tier of the Premier League by virtue of scoring only one fewer goal than second-place West Ham United. In the subsequent promotion playoffs, Portsmouth lost 3-2 on aggregate over 2 games to Leicester City in the playoff semi-finals for the third promotion place. During the 1993-94 season, under manager Jim Smith, Portsmouth finished 17th out of 24 in the First Division, winning 15 matches, drawing 13 and losing 18. The team reached the quarterfinals of the League Cup and the third round of the FA Cup, and in both cases were knocked out after replays. The 1994-95 season was a disappointing one for Portsmouth, and after a decline in form which left them struggling at the wrong end of the new First Division, Jim Smith was sacked on the 1st of February 1995 and was replaced with Terry Fenwick, who guided them to safety with 4 wins in their final 6 league games. In the 1995-96 season, Fenwick's first full season in charge of Portsmouth, relegation to the second division was avoided only on the last day of the season on goal difference, when Portsmouth won away at Huddersfield Town, while other results went to the club's way. In the summer of 1996, Terry Venables arrived at Portsmouth as a consultant. Venables had recently resigned as the England national team manager after the UEFA Euros of 1996 competition, and Fratton Park was transformed into an all-seat stadium, with the new blue plastic seats fitted in the lower North Terrace, Milton End, and the lower South Terrace paddocks, and also to the remnant of the Fratton End terrace. In the 1996-97 league campaign, Portsmouth finished just short of the qualifying places for the playoffs for promotion to the Premier League. Terry Venables took over as a chairman in February 1997 after buying a 51% controlling share in the club for £1. The team enjoyed a run in the 1996-97 FA Cup competition, beating FA Premier League side Leeds United on the 15th of February 1997, but were eventually beaten 4-1 by Chelsea Football Club in the quarter-finals at Fratton Park on the 9th of March 1997. At the end of the 1996-97 season, the Fratton End was fully demolished in the summer of 1997 and work began to build a new Fratton End stand. Additionally, a new roof extension was built over the lower tier of the North Stand and was completed before the new season started. These new additions to the Fratton Park were partly funded by the Football Trust, now the Football Foundation. At 4:59 p.m. On the 31st of Friday, the 31st of October 1997, the £2.2 million Fratton End was officially cleared for its opening, with 1 minute to spare before a 5 p.m. deadline. Problems with some misorientated Fratton End rooftop floodlights caused the Fratton End of the pitch to be shrouded in gloom on Halloween, according to the Sky Sports Free TV commentator, causing some doubt that the live televised Division 1 game against Swindon Town will take place. Fortunately, the match referee Paul Danson gave the go-ahead for the evening fixture. The game was won 1-0 by Swindon Town with an official Fratton Park attendance of only 8,707. As a mark of respect to the club's former player and manager, a memorial portrait of Jimmy Dickinson was incorporated into the seating of the Fratton End stand, along with the club's crest. Terry Venables' role as coach of the Australian national team meant that it was frequently absent from Portsmouth. Meanwhile, the team's results were poor, and two-thirds of the way through the 1997-98 season, he and manager Terry Fenwick left the club, with Portsmouth on the bottom of the table, and Venables selling his shareholding back to Martin Gregory, son of former chairman Jim Gregory. Alan Ball then returned as manager for the second time on the 26th of January 1998. Relegation to the third tier was avoided on the last day of the season by 1 point. Portsmouth's centenary season of 1998-99 saw a financial crisis hit the club, and in December 1998, Portsmouth went into financial administration. Serbian-born US businessman Milan Mandaric saved the club with a takeover deal in May 1999, and the new chairman immediately started investing for the new 1999-2000 season. Alan Ball was sacked on the 9th of December 1999 during the 1999-2000 season, with the club near the bottom of the table. Tony Pulis took over on the 13th of January 2000 and steered the club to safety at the end of the season. In the 2000-2001 season, Pulis was put on leave and replaced by Portsmouth player Steve Claridge in a player-manager role. On the 23rd of February 2001, Graham Ricks took over from Claridge. Portsmouth escaped relegation on the last day of the 2000-2001 season, when they won their final game and Huddersfield Town lost theirs, keeping Portsmouth up at their expense. During the summer break, former West Ham United manager Harry Redknapp was appointed director of football by Mandaric. A week before the new season began, 25-year-old Portsmouth goalkeeper Aaron Flahavan was killed in a car crash near Bournemouth on the 5th of August 2001. In a mark of respect, Portsmouth retired his number 1 shirt for the season, and Portsmouth signed veteran Croatian playmaker Robert Prosinecki on a 1-year deal and Peter Crouch for the start of the 2001-2 season. Ricks lost his job on the 25th of March 2002, with Harry Redknapp taking over. Former Portsmouth manager Jim Smith was asked to team up with Redknapp, and while he initially turned the offer down to remain as assistant at Coventry City, he soon arrived at Portsmouth after a change of manager at Coventry, so almost all the club's coaching staff being dismissed. Peter Crouch scored 19 goals for Portsmouth, but was sold to Aston Villa in March 2002 for £5 million. Portsmouth ended the 2001-2 Division 1 season in 17th place and 4 points above relegation. In the 2002-3 season, Portsmouth led the First Division for most of the season, with Svetoslav Todorov scoring 26 league goals, which made him the First Division's top scorer at the end of the season. Portsmouth finished as First Division champions on the 27th of April 2003, 6 points clear of second place Leicester City, gaining promotion with a game to spare to the FA Premier League, returning to the top tier of English football after an absence of 15 seasons. Portsmouth were awarded the Football League First Division Championship Trophy for a third time, as the former Football League Championship Trophy had been demoted in status in 1992-93 because of the creation of the FA Premier League, and had become the second-tier trophy. Portsmouth's goalkeeper Shaka Hislop and midfielders Matthew Taylor and Paul Merson earned places in the 2002-03 Division 1 PFA Team of the Year. In Portsmouth Premiership debut season in 2003-04, the Harry and Jim partnership of Harry Redknapp and Jim Smith resulted in 13th place finish of the final position of the season at the end of it. Well, if that makes sense in a roundabout way. Almost halfway through the following 2004-05 season in the Premiership, Harry Redknapp unexpectedly walked out on Portsmouth on the 24th of November 2004 after a row with Chairman Milan Mandaric over the appointment of new Director of Football Velimir Zajic at the club. Shortly afterwards, on the 8th of December 2004, Harry Redknapp was announced by Southampton Chairman Rupert Lowe as their new manager, with Jim Smith as his assistant. Velimir Zajic then replaced Redknapp as the Portsmouth manager, but in April 2005, Zajic was replaced by Frenchman Alain Perrine. Perrine managed to secure Portsmouth Premiership status with a few games of the season left, including a South Coast Derby 4-1 win over the Harry Redknapp's Southampton side, who were eventually relegated at the end of the season. During the 2005-06 season, and after achieving only 4 wins from a total of 20 games as Portsmouth manager, Alain Perrine was sacked on the 24th of November 2005, exactly 1 year to the day since Harry Redknapp left Portsmouth. Harry Redknapp then made a surprise return to manage Portsmouth again after leaving relegated Southampton. In January 2006, Portsmouth were then sold by Milan Mandaric and bought by businessman Alexandre Gaydamak. New signings included a quartet from Tottenham Hotspur, with then record signing Benjani and Argentine international Andres D'Alessandro on loan from VfL Wolfsburg. The club survived their third season in the Premier League, one place above relegation zone in 17th position. With large amount of money available for Redknapp to make record signings, the club finished the 2006-07 season in the top half of the table for the first time in 9th position, only 1 point short of the European qualification. The following 2007-08 season, Portsmouth finished 8th in the Premier League and reached the FA Cup final for the first time since 1939. They eliminated Manchester United at Old Trafford in the quarter-finals, and on the 5th of April 2008, Portsmouth beat Championship side West Bromwich Albion 1-0 at Wembley Stadium in the semi-finals. Coincidentally, the same day that the club celebrated its 110th birthday. On the 17th of May 2008, Portsmouth played Cardiff City in the FA Cup final at Wembley Stadium, the second such final at the newly rebuilt Wembley, and Portsmouth won 1-0, with Nwankwo Kanu scoring the only goal. It was the second time Portsmouth had won the FA Cup. The FA Cup win had also earned Portsmouth a place in the 2008-09 UEFA Cup, the club's first time playing in European football. The first European match was a 2-0 victory over Vitória de Guimarães in the first round on the 18th of September. Portsmouth went on to win the tie 4-2 on aggregate, progressing to the group stage. On the 25th of October 2008, Redknapp suddenly left Portsmouth for a second time, leaving his assistant Tony Adams to be promoted to the managerial role. On the 27th of November 2008, Portsmouth drew 2-2 with Milan, going 2-0 up through goals from Younes Kaboul and Nwankwo Kanu, but conceding 2 goals later in the game. Adams was dismissed in February 2009, and youth team coach Paul Hart took over as manager until the end of the season, and Portsmouth were guaranteed Premier League safety on the 16th of May 2009. Portsmouth finished the 2008-09 Premier League season in 14th place, and on the 26th of May, Portsmouth accepted a bid from Emirati businessman Suleiman Al-Fahim to purchase the club. Probably not a good idea. Because of the financial problems suffered by the club, Portsmouth were forced to sell several of their top players and high earners, including Peter Crouch, Sylvian Distin, Glenn Johnson, and Nico Kranjčar. On the 29th of July 2009, Al-Fahim was appointed non-executive chairman of Portsmouth. On the 19th of August 2009, Portsmouth announced on their website that a rival consortium, headed by current CEO Peter Storey, had also made a bid for the club. Known at the time, this was backed by Ali Al-Farij. And despite this, Al-Farij completed the takeover on the 26th of August 2009. Al-Faraj moved to review a takeover of West Ham United. As the early stages of the 2009-10 season progressed, the finances dried up and the club admitted on the 1st of October that some of their players and staff had not been paid. On the 3rd of October, media outlets started to report that a deal was nearing completion for Ali Al-Faraj to take control of the club. On the 5th of October, a deal was guaranteed for Al-Faraj and his associates via BVI registered company Falcon Drove, that is the British Virgin Islands, by the way, to hold a 90% majority of the club. On the 5th of October, a deal was agreed for Al-Faraj and his associate. With Al-Fahim retaining 10% stake and the title of non-executive chairman for 2 years. Falcon Drone also agreed a deal with Alexandre Gaidamak to the right to buy for £1. Mainland Development 2004 Limited, which owns various strategic pockets of land around the ground, once refinancing was complete. 2 days after the Al-Faraj takeover was completed, Portsmouth's former technical director, Avram Grant, returned as director of football. Because of financial problems, however, the Premier League placed the club under a transfer embargo, meaning the club weren't allowed to sign any players. Avram Grant took over Portsmouth on the 26th of November 2009, replacing Hart, who had been sacked by the board 2 days previously due to the club's position at the bottom of the table. Avram Grant, in 2009, it was announced that the club had failed to pay the players for the second consecutive month, and on the 31st it was announced players' wages would again be paid late. On the 5th of January 2010, according to common football contracts, the players then had the right to terminate their contracts and leave the club without any compensation from the club, upon giving 2 weeks' notice. Despite financial difficulties, Grant's time as manager was initially successful. He gained 2 wins against Burnley and Liverpool and a draw away at Sunderland from his first 5 games. The only losses inflicted on Portsmouth in this period were by eventual double winners Chelsea and the previous season's champions Manchester United. HM Revenues and Customs filed a winding-up petition against Portsmouth at the High Court of Justice in London on the 23rd of December 2009. In March 2010, this winding-up petition was dropped, leaving Portsmouth with a 9-point penalty for entering administration. In the 2009-10 season, it became apparent to the club's new owner, Balaram Chainrai, that Portsmouth were approximately £135 million in debt. So to protect the club from liquidation, Chainrai placed the club into administration. This was to protect from liquidation. They put it into administration on the 26th of February 2010, and the club appointed Andrew Andronikou, Peter Kubik, and Michael Chieli of accountancy firm UHY Hacker Young as administrators. This automatically incurred a 9-point penalty from the Premier League, which came into effect on the 17th of March, and consigned the team to almost certain relegation, which was mathematically confirmed on the 10th of April 2010. On the 9th of April 2010, it was announced David Lampitt would be joining Portsmouth as their new CEO after he had worked a period of notice at the FA, his current employer. Portsmouth were relegated to the EFL Championship, the new second-tier level name, the following day on the 10th of April 2010 after West Ham won. Portsmouth won their FA Cup semi-final match against Tottenham 2-0 after extra time the next day, with goals from Frederic Piccione and Kevin Prince Boateng winning the match. They faced Chelsea in the final at Wembley on the 15th of May 2010 and lost 1-0 to a goal from Didier Drogba. Despite the FA Cup finalists, the club were denied a licence to play European football the following season in the UEFA Europa League. In May, Grant resigned as Portsmouth manager, and on the 17th of June, the club's creditors voted for a company voluntary arrangement with an 81.3% majority, HMRC, Paul Hart, and the agent of Portsmouth midfielder Tommy Smith being the only ones to reject it. But HMRC appealed against this EVA due to the reduction of its considerable debt. On the 15th of July 2010, HMRC appealed against the proposed CVA on the last day before it was formally agreed. The case was originally going to take place in October 2010, but after an appeal from the administrators of the club, it was set for the 3rd of August at the High Court in London. The case was heard by Mr. Justice Mann from the 3rd to the 5th of August. Having heard submissions from both sides, he turned down HMRC's appeal on all 5 counts it put forward. HMRC decided not to appeal against the verdict, leaving Portsmouth's administrators to formally agree with CVA and bring the club out of administration. On the 17th of August, Balaram Chenray completed his takeover of the club and passed the owners and directors' fit and proper persons test. Former Notts County manager Steve Cotterill was appointed manager of a relegated Portsmouth in the Championship in June 2010 on a 3-year contract. On the 22nd of October, Portsmouth issued a statement saying, "It appears likely the club will now be closed down and liquidated by the administrators." But key creditor Alexander Gaidamek announced the next day they had reached an agreement which could save their future. It was revealed just hours later that Portsmouth had finally come out of administration, with Balaram Chenray regaining control of the company. On the 3rd of June 2011, Commerce Sports Initiatives, owned by Russian Vladimir Antonov, completed its takeover of the club. On the 14th of October 2011, Steve Cotterill took the vacant Nottingham Forest's manager's position, and he was succeeded by Michael Appleton, who was announced as the new manager on the 10th of November 2011. On the 23rd of November 2011, a Europe-wide asset warrant was issued for Portsmouth owner Vladimir Antonov by Lithuanian prosecutors as part of an investigation into alleged asset stripping at Lithuanian bank Bankas Noras, which was 68% owned by Antonov and had gone into temporary administration the previous week. Operations in another of Antonov's banks, Latvias Banka, were suspended by Latvian authorities for similar reasons. Antonov was subsequently arrested at his offices in London on the 24th of November and was bailed. He shortly afterwards resigned as chairman of Portsmouth after parent company CSI entered administration. On the 24th of January 2012, Portsmouth were issued with a winding up petition by HMRC for over £1.6 million in unpaid taxes, which was heard on the 20th of February. On the 17th of February 2012, Portsmouth went into administration for the second time in 2 years, bringing them an automatic 10-point deduction. Administrator Trevor Birch admitted that the financial situation was worse than we first feared, and that Portsmouth was struggling to make the end of the season. On the 11th of April 2012, the Portsmouth administrators PKF revealed that Portsmouth owed £58 million, with £38 million being owed to the UHY Young and £10.5 million investment made by Vladimir Antonov's CSI remained outstanding, with players being due £3.5 million in wages and bonuses. For the last 2 seasons, while £2.3 million was owed to HMRC, and additionally £3.7 million was owed for general trade. On the 21st of April, Portsmouth were relegated from the Championship after a 2-1 loss to Derby County, the first time in 30 years that the club had played at that level. Following Pompey's relegation to League One, the entire professional playing squad left the club, and the team were given a 10-point deduction in December 2012 for their financial problems. On the 7th of November 2012, it was announced that Michael Appleton had left Portsmouth to become manager of Blackpool. On the 9th of November 2012, Chenray halted his attempt to buy the club, and 6 days later the Pompey Supporters Trust signed a conditional agreement with PFK to buy the club. Portsmouth were unable to find a manager on a long-term basis due to their financial state, and the club went on a record at winless run of 23 matches, finally ending on the 2nd of March 2013 as Portsmouth were on 2-1 away at Crewe Alexandra. On the 10th of April 2013, a deal with administrators was reached, although the Pompey Supporters Trust had not finalised the purchase. Portsmouth were relegated for the second successive season to League Two at the end of the season. On the 19th of April 2013, Portsmouth exited administration when the Pompey Supporters Trust deal to buy the club was completed. Former caretaker Guy Whittingham was appointed manager on a permanent basis with a one-year contract. And Portsmouth sold over 10,000 season tickets for the 2013-14 season, a record for any League Two club. In February 2013, Whittingham was sacked, and a month later, ex-Crawley Town manager Richie Barker was appointed Portsmouth boss, along with Steve Coppell as the director of football, and Barker was sacked after 20 games in charge, with the club in serious relegation to the Football Conference, and Andy Orford was again made caretaker manager. He won 5 games out of 5 played, guaranteeing Pompey's survival in League Two. On the 1st of May 2014, Orford was appointed Pompey's permanent manager, signing on a one-year contract. On a historic announcement on 29th of September 2014, the club was able to declare itself debt-free after paying back all creditors and legacy payments to ex-players. The news came only 18 months after the PST took over control of the club. Following an unsuccessful League Two campaign in the 2014-15 season, Paul Cook was appointed as new manager of Portsmouth on the 12th of May 2015. Paul Cook led Portsmouth to an EFL League Two playoff spot in the 2015-16 season after a 2-0 away win at Hartlepool United on the 30th of April 2016, but lost to Plymouth Argyle in the semi-final. In the 2016-17 season, Paul Cook's side secured promotion to League One with a 3-1 win away at Notts County on the 17th of April 2017. On the 6th of May, the final match of the season, Portsmouth topped the table for the first time in the season, following the 6-1 home win against Cheltenham, and are crowned champions of League Two. Paul Cook resigned on the 31st of May 2017 to join Wigan Athletic. Kenny Jackett was appointed a new manager on February the 2nd of June 2017. In May, the Pompey Supporters Trust voted in favour of a proposed bid by the Tornante Company, founded by former Disney chief executive Michael Eisner, and to take over the club, which was completed on the 3rd of August 2017. Portsmouth began the 2017-18 season in League One, the third tier of professional English football, following their League Two championship win in the previous 2016-17 season. On the 15th of March 2018, Portsmouth revealed a newly redesigned club crest, featuring a new nautical compass star and an 1898 date, which added for the founding year of the football club. The new crest was introduced for the new 2018-19 season, and Portsmouth ended the 2017-18 League One season in 8th position on 66 points, missing the playoff places by 5 points. The 2018-19 EFL League One season began in August with a run of 4 consecutive league wins, and the best league start since 1980-81. Portsmouth remained undefeated in the 2018-19 EFL League One campaign for 11 consecutive league matches and topped the League One table, before being defeated by Gillingham in the 12th match. On the 31st of March 2019, Portsmouth met Sunderland in the 2019 EFL Trophy final at Wembley Stadium. The match finished 1-1 after normal time and 2-2 after 30 minutes of extra time, and a penalty shootout followed, with Portsmouth winning 5-4. Portsmouth's regular EFL League One season concluded on the 4th of May 2019, with the team finishing 4th and qualifying for the League One playoffs. In the playoff semi-finals, Portsmouth went by 5th place Sunderland. The first leg match at the Stadium of Light on the 11th of May 2019 was won 1-0 by Sunderland. The second leg was played at Fratton Park on the 16th of May 2019 and ended 0-0, which meant Portsmouth lost 1-0 overall and missed a Wembley playoff final for promotion to the Championship. During the 2019-20 season, Portsmouth achieved a winning run of 9 consecutive matches in all competitions, setting a new record for the club since Portsmouth joined the Football League in 1920. The record run of 9 matches began with an FA Cup third-round win on the Saturday, the 4th of January 2020, away at Fleetwood Town, with a record-setting 9th game played away at Tranmere Rovers on the Saturday, the 8th of February 2020, in an EFL League One match. On the 18th of February 2020, Portsmouth qualified for the 2020 EFL Trophy final after narrowly defeating Exeter City 3-2 in the semi-final at Fratton Park. Portsmouth were due to return to Wembley Stadium to defend the EFL Trophy as champions on the Sunday the 5th of April 2020. Coincidentally, this would have been the 122nd anniversary of the founding of Portsmouth in 1898. Their opponents would be Salford City, and would have been the first ever meeting between the two clubs. On Friday, the 13th of March 2020, all professional football in England was suspended until at least the 30th of April due to the global COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. On the Tuesday, the 9th of June 2020, the football clubs of EFL League One and EFL League Two voted to end the season early on a points per game calculation, which resulted in Coventry City as League One champions and Rotherham United as League One runners-up. Portsmouth were awarded a 5th place finish to earn one of the 4 promotion playoff places for the EFL Championship, and were matched with Oxford United in a 2-legged semi-final behind closed doors. After 2 legs, a penalty shootout was needed to settle the 2-all aggregate tie, which Oxford United won 5-4. Portsmouth's 4th successive season in EFL League One in the 2020-21 season began on the 12th of September 2020, with a home fixture played at Fratton Park against Shrewsbury Town, which ended 0-0 and was played behind closed doors. Fratton Park's last remaining floodlit tower in the southeast corner was finally removed on February 20th of November 2020. COVID-19 social distancing restrictions were partially relaxed in December 2020 when 2,000 Portsmouth fans were promoted to return to Fratton Park on the 5th of December for the EFL League One game against Peterborough United, a 2-1 win for the home side. Portsmouth reached top place in the EFL League One on the 18th of December 2020, and over the Christmas period after a 2-1 away win at Hull City. Due to the COVID-19 lockdowns, the delayed 2019-20 EFL Trophy final was finally played behind closed doors at Wembley Stadium on the 13th of March 2021, with Portsmouth losing 4-2 on penalties to Salford City after ending 0-0 after extra time. After multiple consecutive losses and with only 1 win in 7 games, manager Kenny Jackett was sacked on the 14th of March 2021, ending his almost 4-year tenure with the club. Jackett left Portsmouth in 7th place in the league, despite being top at Christmas, 1 place below the playoff positions. On the 19th of March 2021, the club appointed Danny Cowley as manager until the end of the 2020-21 season. In his first game in charge, Portsmouth would come from behind to beat Ipswich Town 2-1. By early May 2020, and with 45 league games played, Portsmouth were in 6th position, with a single game to play, needing to win their last game to guarantee their 6th place playoff place, with Oxford United and Charlton Athletic both chasing with similar promotion hopes. However, on Sunday the 9th of May 2021 at Fratton Park, Portsmouth lost 1-0 to Accrington Stanley in the final league game of the season, which featured a minute's silence following the death of former Portsmouth player Alec McLaughlin. Meanwhile, Oxford United and Charlton Athletic had both won their respective final matches, with both clubs leapfrogging Portsmouth in the table to finish with 74 points apiece, with Oxford United qualifying for the 6th place playoff place with a superior goal difference over the 7th place Charlton Athletic. Portsmouth 1-0 loss to Accrington Stanley resulted in a drop to 8th place, 2 points and 2 positions outside the promotion playoff places. On Monday, the 10th of May 2021, Danny Cowley and brother Nick Cowley both signed long-term deals to remain at Portsmouth as manager and assistant respectively. Portsmouth's 5th successive season in the EFL League One in the 2021-22 season began on the 7th of August 2021 with an away fixture at Fleetwood Town's Highbury Stadium, which resulted with a 1-0 win to Portsmouth. After winning their first 3 league games against Fleetwood Town, Crewe Alexandra and Shrewsbury Town, Portsmouth topped EFL League One on the 17th of August 2021. And after a poor run of only 2 wins from 15 games, Portsmouth fell into the bottom half of the table, but by Christmas 2021 had risen to 8th place, just outside the promotion playoff places. So I know that was a long one, but thank you very much for watching this video, even though it is over an hour now. But I hope you did enjoy it. I've still got quite a fair few videos coming up now. we're coming in towards the season then with the last international break, obviously, right now. But that doesn't mean it will necessarily have to stop. So, well, on Friday, I'm going to see what each of the nicknames of the Championship and Premier League clubs as a part of a three-part series of looking at different, like, we'll eventually go down to non-league, which clubs nicknames actually mean. And then on Monday, we're doing a history of your club with Shrewsbury Town. That'll be an interesting one, probably not as long. But goodbye for now.